How's it going? I'm Dr. J, and today we're going to go over how to get more out of your combos and strings. I didn't really know what I should call this video. I was originally thinking how to extend your strings or how to make better reads, but I kind of just wanted to generally talk about a bunch of different topics pertaining to the Punish game, so this is what I settled on. Real quick before I get started, I'm sponsoring a free online tournament with Nintendo eShop gift card prizes this Saturday the 15th, so be sure to sign up for that on SmashGG. The link is in the description. Alright, so we'll start off with some general tips that a lot of experienced players should already know, and then I'll move on to some higher level concepts that should at least have some good reminders for high level players. First off, one of the easiest and most obvious ways to extend your combos is not to waste your jumps. Double jumping is extremely important for extending combos, so if you've already used it to approach and you can't land quick enough to get it back, your combo is essentially over. This is especially important for characters that use ladder combos or like to juggle. I don't really want to talk about starting combos because that's pretty character specific, but to improve that aspect of your punish game, learn your frame data and keep in mind whether you're rising or landing when you try to start a combo in the air. For projectiles, Z-dropping, throwing them up in the air, or waiting for the return hit on things like boomerangs is often better than shooting or throwing a projectile directly at your opponent. I've got a whole video on how to use projectiles effectively, but as a general tip for setting up combos, don't think about where your projectile is going, but rather where your opponent is going and where your projectile will wind up. By the way, jab blocks are only for when your opponent lands in a tumble but does not tech. Because not teching is by far the least safe tech option, it's usually done by accident. This means that despite the skill required to effectively use jab blocks, when offline and against higher skilled opponents, they become less relevant. Jab blocks are still extremely effective when you get the opportunity to use them, and this is by no means my way of saying not to learn them. It's just not what I want to focus on here. Besides, jab blocks are not so much a combo extender as they are a setup for a finishing move like a smash attack. Anyway, the Beefy Smash Dudes and many other YouTubers have already made great videos explaining jab blocks, so check those out if you don't know how they work. Now, the most effective ways to get more out of your combos, which is what I'll be talking about for the remainder of the video, are air dodge reads, DI chasing, and tech chasing. So while I'm sure a lot of you aren't too into traditional 2D fighting games, there's a Japanese fighting game philosophy sort of way of thinking called Okies MA, which basically translates to get up attack, or more accurately, attacking someone while they're trying to get up. In the next week or so, I'm going to make a short video on how you can apply the concepts of Okies MA or Oki to Smash, so look out for that if you want an in-depth lecture about it. But for now, let's just say that when going for a chase or a read, you want to cover as many of your opponent's tech options as possible. Of course, the best way to nail this is by practicing and improving your reactions, but there are some very important things to keep in mind while trying to chase down your opponent. The first thing to keep in mind is your positioning relative to your opponent and the stage. This includes which way you're facing and if you're in the air or on the ground. One of the best places to be for most matchups when trying to chase a tech or air dodge is underneath your opponent, and probably the most favorable position is with your opponent teching on a platform above you. But even if there isn't a platform between you, when you're below your opponent, you're more likely to be able to land faster, thus being able to punish air dodges a bit easier and making it unlikely for you to get hit by a combo breaking move, with characters like Game & Watch not included. Anyway, the point is that you need to position yourself in such a way that you're within attacking range of where you think your opponent will go, but not far enough away from anywhere else your opponent could go that you can't punish him. Basically, stay in the spot that you can cover the most options from. This is often very character dependent, and certain characters can cover more or different options than others. But for pretty much every situation, there is an optimal position for you to be relative to your opponent. So start figuring that out by asking around your character Discord or breaking down pro games. Stage knowledge is extremely important with regards to positioning, as platform layouts and blast zone distances can greatly affect what options are available to you and how effective they are. Knowing how different characters like to act on different stages can make positioning yourself much easier. One other thing to think about is that stopping early mid-combo can actually allow for more damage in the long run. If a follow-up is either not true or is telegraphed somehow, your opponent will often air dodge to escape the combo, or maybe jump out of it. If you wait just a few frames before throwing out your next move, and then react to your opponent's air dodge or jump, you can punish them heavily with an aerial, a Shuriken type move, or a smash attack. This is kind of a frame trap, which is a bit complicated, but if you understand frame data, it's kind of self-explanatory. Basically, it's allowing an opening for your opponent to press a button, but punishing that button press before the move or dodge can come out. It's really good when it comes to shield pressure, but the same principle can be applied to air dodge reads, DI chasing, and tech chasing. Aside from just using well-timed aerials and fancy projectile tech, the easiest way to frame trap someone is by what I call pre-firing and overshooting an active hitbox. Pre-firing as in pressing the button before you want the move to actually come out, overshooting as going where your opponent will go rather than where they currently are, and when I say active hitboxes, I'm referring to attacks that last for a considerably longer time than most moves, aka moves with more active frames. Some good examples are Palutena's Nair, Youngling's Up B, Violet's Snare, and Samus's Fair. There are tons of other examples though. These types of moves can be used as media attacks, and are good for when you know where your opponent is going, but not necessarily when they're going to do it. Some moves, like many characters' up and down smashes, can cover 2 or more locations at once, with multiple or active hitboxes. These types of moves are great for when you know when your opponent will air dodge, tech, or roll, but you aren't entirely sure where they're going. Finally, I briefly want to talk about reads and reactions. A lot of people have this misconception that a read is just a hard guess, and that a reaction is when someone does something entirely in response to a certain stimulus. In reality, good players are always both reading and reacting to what their opponent does. The most consistent way to get what one might call a read or a reaction is to eliminate your opponent's least likely options, preemptively cover some of the likely options, and react to the remaining ones. This way, instead of having to react to all possible options, you can make a simple mental flowchart of what you might have to react to and when, so that you're ready for them. Of course, deciding which of your opponent's options are more likely than others is where reading comes in, as it's uncommon for good players to consistently go with the most obvious options. Anyway, that's all for now, but comment below what you want to see next, if you want maybe a Young Link guide or another tech chasing, like reading guide, or if you just want like a combo video or something fun like that. But anyway, peace.